All right, let's talk some edge rush situations. I'm going to be previewing the top five. So there's five guys here. The top five, I say in top five. There was 5 first-round edge rushers selected. Obviously, 3 of them were very hyped up, and 2 more that I think were still significantly hyped up. They all went in the first round, so I figured let's talk about them. I'm going to give you my rankings, but first I have to just take a second to make it clear what my rankings actually is, just so you're aware of what you're talking about here. This is not a rankings of who I think is the best or who I would take right now, number one. It's simply, how did I feel you were as a prospect, and did you improve upon that or disappoint upon that? And if you improved upon that, I'm going to value that higher. So it's who do I feel better about now? That's kind of the way to view it. It's a ranking system. So yeah, there's the 5 players. Let's start off with number 5. There's Jermaine Johnson here, who I thought looked like how I expected Jermaine Johnson to look, outside of he was missing some tackles, which whatever, I don't care about that. That'll clean itself up. As a whole, though, I think with someone like Jermaine Johnson, he's someone who people loved out of college. I didn't as much, just because I felt like I like his talent and I love his highlights. I just didn't love his some of these. I thought his production needed to be better. I care about production. Production matters for me, and I didn't think that because again, that translates well to the NFL level. So I wasn't crazy about that. And I think that, I should mention what the number is on the right. You have, that is the number of where he ranked in terms of a PFF grade. So he was the 104th rated edge rusher in the preseason. Although, to be clear, that's out of 219 total players. So kind of mediocre in the preseason. But again, it's preseason. I think that he is someone who, to be clear, when I say I didn't love the production, that is something that can jump up in future years. He might just be more of a project type players, which is okay. The Jets can afford to take some time with that stuff. So for him, it's more so just kind of getting him accustomed to, NFL speed, NFL size, all that stuff, and then figuring out how to sort of use his speed and size to find ways to beat guys. So to me, I think I'm not disappointed by him at all. He just kind of, I had a little bit lower expectations than most, and I think he met those expectations. Wasn't fantastic, but wasn't horrible either. Didn't embarrass himself or anything like that. So I thought all 5 of these edge rushers showed some promise, including him. Number 4, we have George Karlaftis, who actually his PFF grades were slightly lower than Jermaine Johnson's. He was 108, Johnson 104. So there you go. Now, why do I have Karlaftis as a little bit better, even though I was very high on George Karlaftis. I had him as my edge rusher 3 in this draft class. Well, obviously 3 went into top 5, and then he went sort of at the end of the first round. But one thing I liked about him is that he has such great technique and such great hands, and I think we saw that in this preseason. I think we saw what he can do when he is at his best, is he can use that technique, he can use his hands, and he was able to get pressures and sacks that way. So the consistency wasn't maybe what you would like, but I think I kind of care less about that in the preseason a little bit. And, production still matters. I still care about it. I still want to see you be winning consistently. So that's why he's 4 and not any higher. But one of the things that I just wish that maybe I potentially saw more was a little bit more consistency. I also still say, though, okay, you made these moves in college. There was a bit of a question of, will these moves work at the NFL level, these kind of technique moves? And we saw to some degree, yes, they are working. Now, how consistently will they work? We won't really know until we get a bigger sample size, but I'm not concerned in the slightest with Karlaftis. Number 3, I have Kayvon Thibodeaux. So, listen, I am factoring the injury in here, which is kind of what hurts him a little bit, was the fact that he got banged up, but it's not a long injury. He shouldn't be out for like the whole year or anything. He'll miss some time, but it's not going to be like he's going to miss forever, so I'm not too concerned about that. And I thought he was playing well when he was out there, so I really did. I thought that all of these top 3 guys, I was very impressed with when I saw them. I thought that he was someone who was, you just noticed him on the field. Even if you weren't evaluating him, you'd be like, oh, number 5 is going crazy. You just see him on the field. If you're just watching as a fan, you notice what he's doing, because he is very disruptive, and he is kind of this, I feel like it's fascinating with the top 3 guys, right? Travon Walker, this elite athlete who didn't get a ton of production. Aidan Hutchinson, who is still an elite athlete. People don't really realize that, but, maybe not quite Thibodeaux or, not Thibodeaux or Walker, but has all this production. Thibodeaux is kind of in the middle, where he was still a great athlete, but also had production. So Some people thought he should have been the first edge rusher, and I get the argument, and I think he showed why there's that argument. I still also think, though, he showed there was some slight concerns I potentially had. Maybe concerns is too strong of a word, but slight things I noticed where it felt like he was, at times, being someone who could have used more moves, could have used his hands more and stuff like that. He still got the production. It's not a big deal, but I feel like if he's going to turn into this elite guy, he probably needs to figure that stuff out. But again, he's a rookie. He's just, just getting some reps in at the preseason, so hopefully he just gets healthy and can play right away. Number 2, I do have Aidan Hutchinson, who, his PFF grade was not fantastic. 96, that was not great. That's very fair to say, and I loved Hutchinson out of this draft. I had him as my favorite player out of this draft. I still feel that way. I still thought at times he looked dominant. I thought that he had, the first time we saw him in his first preseason game, I was like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. This guy's going to come in right away and play like TJ Watt. Didn't quite work out that way later on. I did think that, the consistency cooled off, certainly, but I still saw those flashes, and I still saw those stretches of him looking like unstoppable, that even if he maybe had some stretches of not quite having the consistency, I'm willing to write that off because it's the preseason, and what I want to see more than anything is just the flashes. How are you doing more so than, what can you do as opposed to how are you doing, maybe is the better way to phrase it. So for Hutchinson, he showed what he can do. I still think that he's fantastic. He's still my edge rusher 1, but I was not the most impressed with him this preseason. There was one guy I was more impressed with, which if you've been following this channel, you might be surprised to learn. That's right, Travon Walker I have as my favorite rookie edge rusher in terms of preseason performance. And I think the main reason why I liked this is because this is a guy who did not get a ton of production in college. Even when I know a lot of people will bring up all these other things, it's because of the scheme, and that stuff is true, but even when you isolate just when it was obvious pass rush situations with him as an edge rusher, the numbers weren't fantastic. So, no matter what, you take out, no matter what metric you look at, the numbers weren't spectacular, even if you take out the plays where he was just run defending or just being a contained guy. That's absolutely true. That being said, we still did see some amazing flashes in college of when his plays did work. They looked fantastic, and the obvious question was, I don't know if that'll work at the NFL level. Well, to some degree they are. So that's why I'm very excited about what maybe Travon Walker could be, and I can kind of see it more now. So again, am I willing to sit here and say, oh, well, I guess it looks like I was wrong, Travon Walker is awesome? No, I'm not willing to say that just yet, because I still think that I want to see someone who has the production, and him playing well in preseason does not equate to him playing well in the regular season, but it does tell me that, it would have been concerning if he didn't play well in the preseason. The fact that he leads me to believe there is definitely a bigger chance that he will succeed as a rookie than maybe I had given him credit for earlier. But, will it happen? Will it not? We'll have to really just wait and see. But yeah, that's my list. What's your list? What do you think? Where am I wrong? Where am I right? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.